We have all given Ben Simmons so much time as an NBA player to grow and change his game. We just all wait for him and say, oh, this offseason he'll put in the work, shoot 1,000 threes a day, and he'll come back and be the MVP. This all sounds so simple, but there's a hidden ingredient that nobody talks about, and it's his battle with the psychological side of basketball. And so what do you mean when I say it's psychological? And just to state, I'm a psychology major at San Diego State University and have 2 semesters until I get my degree where I'll begin to pursue my doctorate in psychology. And when I saw Ben Simmons went to see a sports psychologist in the summer, I was so interested, only to find out, obviously, that they didn't release anything they talked about because it's very private. So I thought it would be fun to discuss and what I see in Ben Simmons from my studies in psychology. Ben Simmons is an elite player in this league even without a jump shot. He has incredible playmaking ability, defense, and finishing around the rim that we haven't seen since the likes of LeBron James. Growing up, I never saw an NBA player break the mold in the NBA just as much as he has. I mean, a 6'10" person should be a center, not a point guard. It used to be like an amusement park in the NBA where you had the too tall to ride signs. Oh, you're over 6'3"? Sorry, too tall to ride, you're a shooting guard. But in the age of positionless basketball, players like Ben Simmons have emerged. But why doesn't he just shoot the ball? Even if he misses, who cares? Well, first let's talk about a social psychology phenomenon called a spotlight effect. Have you ever been in public with a pimple and you were just so sure that everyone is staring at it and judging you? Or have you been at a stoplight and you think all the other cars are looking at you and judging you based off your looks or what song you're listening to? Or maybe you've stumbled and almost fallen and you think you're the biggest idiot and everyone around you thinks you're the clumsiest person alive? Well, if you've ever thought this, you're not the most self-centered or egocentric person ever. You're human, and everyone walks around in life thinking they have some sort of spotlight on them. And no, they don't notice your pimple. Just like you're busy thinking about yourself, so are they. This happens when you're randomly going around in public places. So what do you think it would be like playing in front of 20,000 people in a stadium every other night and millions of people watching you at home? How much bigger do you think that spotlight would feel on you? Very quickly, if you guys enjoy daily NBA content, we post every day on this channel. If you guys leave a like and subscribe, it helps out my channel so much, especially as this young channel starting out. So thank you guys so much. Back to the video. Another thing we have to look at that compounds this effect is something called schemas. Schemas are something you identify with or put your identity in. These are very important, and there's different levels of schemas. There's things that are kind of important to you, very important to you, or things you completely have your identity in. It's really good to know your schemas because you can have schemas in being a father, a student, an athlete, in your job or work, or in your character. And however important the schema is to you or how much your identity you have in it, it'll be harder to receive criticism. So if you have your identity in being a straight A student, a teacher giving you a C- on a paper would be devastating. But it wouldn't be that devastating if you had your identity in something else and something else would bother you more. Me working closely with a sports psychologist, this is why athletes have such a hard time with injuries from a mental standpoint, because these athletes have their entire identity in their sport. So when they can't perform, they have a feeling of emptiness and worthlessness, and it can lead to depression. Ben Simmons is a hooper through and through, and I guarantee all of the criticism he receives from the media, his peers, and coaches is really impactful, which makes it even more difficult to deal with in the first place. Which brings me to my next point with Ben Simmons and how he deals with the criticism. He has said in reports, I know I can shoot 30% from 3, but I want to work on my craft till I can be a consistent 40% shooter. This is a classic defense mechanism, and in psychology, this is called rationalization. Rationalization is when a person comes up with their own set of facts or standards to justify themselves into something that they're doing or something or not to do something. Ben Simmons has insanely high basketball IQ. We see this in his playmaking and defense especially. So Ben Simmons isn't dumb. He knows he needs to shoot the ball, and if the defender would need to come out a little bit further to the three-point line to contest him, it would make it so much easier for him to drive to the basket and set up his teammates for easier shots. I mean, look at how LeBron is defending him here. Ben knows this isn't good for the offense, but he has rationalized and justified his choice not to shoot, and he's convinced himself that he's just better off not doing it until he's elite. He has also said that he's elite at passing, playmaking, driving, and defense, and he should just focus on what he's good on. And this actually isn't what he believes, but he's so scared and worried to be criticized that he's convinced himself that this is what he believes. So between the spotlight effect, his schemas, and his rationalization, this is why I believe Ben Simmons is currently not shooting, and as more and more times goes on, it's only going to get worse and worse for him because more people are going to be talking about it, and then when that happens, I think he's going to be even less likely to start shooting without professional help. I'm glad he finally did. And this year he's 1 for 2 from 3, and I'm really glad to see him take these shots, and he actually made one of them, so he's shooting 50%, but the other one was an air ball, so I'm not sure how much that helped exactly. And I really hope we can see him take these next steps, because this is what Giannis did. Giannis did this. He swallowed his pride. He said, I'm not a very good three-point shooter, but I'm going to take them regardless. And we saw in the last few years, as Giannis took more and more three-point attempts, his offensive efficiency and rating went up. And it's not because he's an amazing three-point shooter, but because he has high basketball IQ, and he knows if he's going to go up, take pull-up contested threes, and if he can make them at a decent rate, they're going to have to come up further, and that means he's going to be able to drive past them easier, and it's going to be better for his offense. And we've been seeing Giannis be able to be back-to-back MVP, and I really believe this is what Simmons can do, because he has a lot of the intangibles that LeBron and Giannis have, and he's just holding himself back from a mental standpoint. And I really think Ben Simmons can be an MVP of this league. I'm so excited for him to keep getting professional help, and I really think as the season and the years go on, this is only his 4th season of basketball, and I really just think as time goes on and he gets over this mental block, he'll be able to start shooting. And I don't think he will never be a Curry, he will never be a Danny Green or JJ Redick or Kyle Korver. He's gonna be a 25 to 30% three-point shooter, but as long as he's taking them when they're open and make the defense respect it, then his game's gonna open up so much more. Thank you guys so much for watching. This video was so much fun to make. I love that it involved my passion in psychology and what I'm studying in school and my love for sports. So it was a ton of fun to watch. I see a lot of things I could go over with Markelle Fultz and some other players that have dealt with the yips or something, some psychological block that I'd love to go over. And we post every day on the channel, so I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace!